So, what's good, guys? Set 2 just released, Season 2, whatever you want to call it. And I figured what better way to let you guys know what cards to grind for, where your priorities should be, than me just react and rate all the players. So, as you can see here on Showzone, took like 20 minutes to set this up. The website is incredibly slow. The MLB servers are pretty slow right now. A ton of people on, really hype content drop, and I have a tier list of I think all the like notable cards that came out today. There's others for sure. This is not every card that came out today. These are just the best of the best in my opinion. Um, at initial glance, I guess cards could have different swings. They could have worse swings. They could have better swings than I expect. They could play above their attributes. Some cards could just suck. But at first glance, this is who I think will be good. And yeah, so let's get started. Aaron Loop is going to be absolutely phenomenal. You can see he is a relief pitcher, which means he will get the Hoffman boost. If he's not already 125 hits, then he will be. If you see odd cards like this, it's because Showzone has not added their card yet. This is right after release. They haven't added their card, so I'm using a different card of theirs as a stand-in. There's a couple people that didn't have a card prior to getting one today, like Kevin Youkilis, and I think there's a Mike Napoli card that didn't get added, which is unfortunate. But just know Napoli is S tier for sure. He's probably the best 97 that came out today. Adam Dunn looks like an all-star demon. If you are somebody on the all-star, he will be phenomenal for you at DH or in his primary. Rendon is a sleeper pick. He is as good of a second baseman as anybody that came out today, and his quirks. I don't think he has any quirks, but his attributes are phenomenal. Always has a pretty decent swing. It's very hit or miss if people like it or not. Lau looks pretty good for what he is. He is one of the final cards in that Kaiju program that came out. It shouldn't be too long to complete. It's about the same as any other program like the Charisma program. Brian Roberts looks pretty solid. If you're somebody who can get away with not having that power, he is a switch hitting second baseman with elite speed and elite defense. With the way power plays this year, I think he can be really solid. He was pretty decent last year. Harper is probably S tier. A lot of people absolutely love his swing. With the cover athlete boost, I think he is definitively S tier. Can play first base, which is kind of weird, but has some value there, I guess, if you don't have Babe or somebody we'll get to in a minute. Chase Utley, kind of the same as Harper. A lot of people like his swing. I thought his attributes looked pretty underwhelming at first. I did use his collection card last year, so I know he has a good swing and plays slightly above his attributes, but the attributes just weren't that great for me. He's not going to be my first pick out of that boss pack, which is where he comes from. Chili Davis got a 97. Looks pretty solid as a DH on like All-Star and difficulties like that. Maybe can crack a lineup on Hall of Fame. Definitely not a legend type player. But if you enjoyed this 89 Chili Davis, the 97 should be pretty phenomenal for you. CT3, I'm going to sneak into A tier. I absolutely love his swing. It's very like Trout-esque. Not great power. I think it's in the 80s on this card or something like that. But phenomenal swing, good speed, good fielding, great contact, and I think pretty decent clutch. So A tier is where I put him. This Kershaw, honestly, pretty underwhelming. He might be able to, mix some people up just because it's Kershaw and his delivery and the pitch mix, but the attributes seemed kind of underwhelming. I don't know if he's one of the best five starters in the game. If he is, he's probably 4 or 5. He is not quite as good as I was hoping he would be, but that's before we knew that he was in the store pack, and pretty much all of those store pack players haven't been super OP other than like Roki and Trout. Mickey Mantle is the best card that came out today. In game, he's actually known as the Comet. Instead of a name, he will just be known as the Comet. He is absolutely insane. He looks like a collection reward card. He's as good as any three of the set cards that came out today. He looks absolutely phenomenal. He's basically the collection reward from last year. You just won't be able to use him for as long, but a 2 month lifespan on this card, you should superfractor him easily. He looks absolutely phenomenal. Could be the best card in the game. Kluber looks pretty good. The attributes aren't the greatest, but he still has that pitch mix. It's still Corey Kluber at the end of the day. I'd probably take him over this Kershaw. Maybe that's crazy to say. I don't necessarily think so. Corey Seager, this might be controversial. A lot of people are kind of underwhelmed with this card. I think he'll be really good. They did kind of jip him on his quirks. He's only got like two quirks, and neither one of them are the active, like dead red or breaking ball, which kind of sucks. But we know his swing's phenomenal. I would not play him at shortstop. I think he has like 45 speed. But good defense. So play him at second. He'll have a gold shield there without any parallels. Should play a comparable second base to anybody else on this list. Pretty much Chase Utley with probably a debatably slightly better swing, worse speed, worse defense, same pop, pretty much same contact. David Wright. Okay, so this is the 99 Kaju card. This card is way better than I thought he would be. We knew he would be good, but him being able to play shortstop opens up a crazy amount of possibilities now. Jeter's easily on the bench, if not out the lineup. Chipper will be at third. David Wright will be at shortstop. That will be the best lineup in the game for sure. Ernie Banks got 97. I thought he looked good. Another probably like all-star demon card. Maybe if you really like him, you can use him on Hall of Fame. Not a legend card. Usually like Ernie Banks cards. Usually has a good swing, decent defense, and that's what that 97 has. Yuri Perez, super underwhelming. Could tear some kids up on All-Star, I guess. Outlier sinker, no outlier fastball. So, you're going to be sitting like 97, 98 most of the time. It's not really going to be that true outlier. And he throws a slurve. It's all right. He's probably going to be good for like 3 innings, and then he's going to start getting touched up against good players. Don't love him. Grady, just with the outfielders we have in the game right now, he's probably still S tier, but like Griffey's better than him. Griffey is straight up better than him. Mickey Mantle straight up better than him. Bryce Harper is like debatable depending on what you want. But Grady looks solid. If you usually like Grady cards, this one should be all right. He is one of the bosses. Probably again not going to be my first pick out of that pack. This one definitely won't be. Bottom of A tier, if you traditionally like Maddox cards and you like, pretending like you're Greg Maddox, then he's decent. Obviously, All-Star, I would not recommend this card. Even on Hall of Fame, I'd probably not recommend this card. On Legend, he has some potential with the sped up timing windows and most pitchers having really big PCI or par sizes. But for everybody else, probably not going to be great. Might be like B tier on All Star. Might be really bad. Hank Aaron, this is a stand in for the 99. One of the better cards we got today. Did not quite have the maxed out hitting stats I thought he would, but the defense was phenomenal. The speed is good. Really do like Hank. He probably cracks the best outfield in the game for sure. Hunter Renfroe got a Kaiju 97 like Brandon Lau did. These two are like the last two that you get or something like that. A lot of people like Hunter Renfroe, and I do too, but the clutch is not great. It's going to limit him from playing past All-Star. Really good defense, though, and decent speed. Kinsler, I mean, this card is unbelievably underwhelming. He is one of the ranked rewards. He's worse than Utley. He's worse than Seager. He's probably worse than Anthony Rendon. They really did my boy dirty, which sucks because I like his swing a lot. As a Tigers fan, he had some really good years in Detroit, and that's unfortunate how they did him. DeGrom's 97, kind of underwhelming with the through nines. Obviously has his traditional pitch mix and outlier fastball. Maybe he's S tier. I don't think he's quite on the level of that All Star Game one from a couple years ago, but this one is close to S tier. You could argue him, as a top five pitcher in the game. Maybe he's better than Bob Gibson. Maybe he's better than this Kershaw. That's kind of where he's at. I'd probably take Kluber over him. Franco, if you need a decent lefty out the pen, I think he'll be solid. Obviously, throws a lot of junk. Pitchers like that are pretty volatile. One start they can do or one appearance they can do great. The next they'll be awful. Just depends on what type of player you're facing. So you might want to have a good read on your opponent. But Franco looks pretty decent. Josh Donaldson looks pretty good. Probably ranks around here. He was worse and better than I thought. The traditional hitting stats on him are worse than I thought they would be. He's not really going to benefit from the cover athlete boost too much. It will give him diamond defense at third, which is useful. But he does have 125 clutch, which kind of saves the card and makes it pretty good. Seager, the other Seager, got 97. I think he's a top tier option. Probably not Probably more in line with Lau and Renfro as if you want to use this card, you can use this card, but it's not going to be at the best at its position. Usually has a really good swing. I did not check his quirks. I imagine he probably has some. McCullers, I thought looked pretty solid, honestly. He got a 97. I don't know if it's from team affinity or what, but it looked pretty solid. Pretty decent pitch mix. Really good through nines. I think it's like 105 hits or something like that. He looked decent. I know a lot of people like this 89 at the start of the year. He's just an upgraded version of that. So that looked like a pretty solid card. Mo. Okay, I've been asking for this. We finally got one of our shutdown relievers out the pen. Kind of a theme of this. We did get a Rich Gossage also. He's going to be like one of the tiers on the way to getting the set 2 bosses from the collection. He is one of the tiers. So Rich Gossage is obviously S tier. One of the better right-handed relievers in the game for sure. And Mo also kind of falls in that category. He is in the boss pack with Utley and Josh Donaldson. He's probably the best out of that pack if I had to choose one. Muncy got 97. This is an all-star demon card. If you're somebody that plays all-star or if you really like Muncy on Hall of Fame, you can get away with it. Would not run him on Legend. Musina shows some promise. I think he can be solid. Probably not as good as this Kershaw, but if you traditionally like Mike Mussina cards, if you liked the collection reward one from either last year or the year before, and then that signature one that came out in BR, or no, it was Takashi, you will probably enjoy this card. It's pretty similar to those. Really solid pitch mix. Here we go. Okay, I do have Napoli. He looks phenomenal. This Napoli is basically like the BR one from last year. Absolutely insane hitting. Has breaking ball. Has dead red. He looks insane. The defense is going to be kind of rough, but honestly, you could DH him and you're not losing any production. Probably a top 3 catcher in the game if you like his swing. He looked absolutely nasty when I saw him. Schmidt, pretty mid. Usually has a pretty bad swing. Pretty mediocre stats because his defense is so high. And that's just kind of where he is. He's a ranked season reward for CS, I think. That's just kind of where he is. Mitch Garver looks solid. If you enjoyed the Topps Now one, maybe you'll like this one. I thought his clutch was kind of low. I think he lacks against one side of the plate. But if you did enjoy that Topps Now one, this one's pretty solid. Castellanos looks good as like a DH, or he is serviceable in the field. I think he'll have a silver shield. So if you play him in his primary right field, looks pretty solid. Would be a decent DH. Usually has a really good swing. Not a bad card. Probably not. We need to reorganize this a little bit. That's probably more so what like the top of this tier is looking like. Nolan Ryan has potential to be S tier. You got to know how to pitch with him. It's very important to mix the sinker in with Nolan Ryan and keep your opponent guessing. Don't just sit here and throw outlier fastballs the whole time. You have to pitch good with him. Otherwise, he's probably an A tier. But if you know how to pitch with Nolan Ryan cards, this one's phenomenal. Not quite as good as his no hitter from last year, but close. Randy Johnson, debatable with Mickey Mantle for the best card that came out today. It's basically the collection Randy from last year. He is absolutely phenomenal. Nothing much else to say. Uh, Bobby, Bobby got a card. If you're somebody that traditionally enjoys Roberto Clemente cards, if you enjoyed the one from last year, you will like this one. With the way Power plays this year, it's not the be all end all of a card. He plays phenomenal defense, has good speed, great contact, great clutch. The Power is just a little lackluster. You're going to have to really barrel balls up. But could be a good card for people that struggle on Hall of Fame or struggle on Legend. He's going to give you a really big PCI and should be decent. Helsley looks pretty decent. The through nines are phenomenal, right? But pretty mediocre pitch mix, I'll say. Does have an outlier fastball. Maybe you could argue S tier. I think it just depends on your opponent in that game, if they traditionally hit Helsley cards well or not. Rhino looks solid, honestly. I think he's debatably probably top of A tier. The power is not really there. Pretty good speed from what I saw. Great defense, great contact, decent clutch. The power is just not really there. It's like 80, 90. If you're somebody that's been living with like Ketel Marte or a non-power hitting second baseman, uh, you know, he looks great. But in general, I'll probably stay away from him. I would probably rather have Utley. I think probably Rendon and Sandberg are kind of neck and neck. You could put one over the other or the other above like the other, Scoots Magoots, Scott Barlow, I thought looked all right. Really high hits, pretty much a Joe Random pitch mix. He's got I think a slurve, a slider, a sinker, and a fastball, or maybe there's a changeup in there. I'm not sure. He's all right. Looks solid. We'll get the Hoffman boost, and I'm pretty sure that will put him at 125. So he's pretty decent. Probably not that low, but obviously we know how show zone works. It's hard to get in these in between areas. Sonny Gray, I thought got a really solid 97. That is like a sleeper card. I thought it looked really good. Has a decent pitch mix. He's basically better Greg Maddux. He's Greg Maddux that doesn't throw the ball 90 miles an hour. He throws it like 92, 93, 94, whereas Greg is topping out at 92. So I think he's just better Greg Maddux, to be honest. Same usual. This might be controversial. I think he's up here. I don't traditionally like Stam Usual cards, but if you are somebody that enjoys his swing, I'm sure he has every hitting quirk. I didn't even check. He looks like Babe Ruth with slightly less power, would be my comparison for him. So if you traditionally like Stan Musial cards, this one's phenomenal. He's a ranked reward. He's probably the best of those ranked rewards for sure, and he looks really good. Strasburg got 97 out the Kaiju program. Probably the best Strasburg we've seen in a while. That being said, he's still not great, but you can get away with him. I think he has like 103 hits per nine, something like that. Has a pretty decent pitch mix. He's probably going to struggle against lefties, but against righties, he has a really good pitch mix. Looks solid. Trevor Story, I want him to be an S tier so bad, but they absolutely nuked his clutch. Should be an all-star demon. Trevor Story is one of my favorite swings every year, and the stats are really good on him, but the clutch is really bad. So he's going to struggle on Hall of Fame, and he should never touch Legend ever, probably. So that's unfortunate. I was looking forward to this card when I saw it, but it is the way it is. And then Willie Mays. I don't think he's one of the better outfielders in the game. I don't like his stance. I don't really like the way they did his attributes. He's not particularly fast. He's a good fielder, but not a maxed out fielder like I was hoping. Like Griffey's a better fielder than him. Griffey's faster than him. Griffey has better reaction than him. The arm strength's probably comparable. I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, not a huge fan of Willie Mays. If you are, this is a good one. Kind of similar to where his Takashi ranked reward was last year. It's usable. It can fit into a God squad, but for me personally, it will not. And this is the overview of the content that came out today. I think Mickey Mantle and Randy Johnson are just miles ahead of every other card. But Hank Aaron, David Wright, Stan Musial, Mo look really good. Napoli looks absolutely disgusting as a budget option. If you guys are on a budget, Napoli, Loop, Kluber, this Rendon, maybe Strasburg, Sonny Gray, this McCullers, all look absolutely phenomenal. So if you're on a budget and grinding, those are the ones I would prioritize. And yeah, guys, if this was helpful at all, feel free to like and subscribe. Peace.